Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing the Hansshow powered liftgate trunk, so if you're interested, stay tuned. So before we start off, I do want to mention that this video is sponsored, and Hansshow did contact me to install the power liftgate in my car to review. So I just got it installed last week, and I have the newest version, which is version 3, and so there's obviously going to be improvements over version 2 and version 1, so I'll go through those and let you know what the improvements are. So usually when I do reviews, I like starting with the cons first, that way we end on a good note. So with that said, here are the cons. So there's really not that many cons for this product. The one big one that I think everyone is probably looking at is price. So if you look at it from a straight price perspective, it is $500 for the power trunk and another $50 for the foot sensor, but that's just in straight money. So $500, so $550 total. But if you look at it at in terms of what you're getting for it and how much these things cost, so it's in that perspective, it's not really that much. If you were to, look at a Mercedes or a Beamer or some other high-end car, that's basically what you would pay for this. It's just that you don't see it in straight price because it's already included in the total price of the car. The only other real con I found with this product is that you have to drill a hole in the trunk lining. So it's the plastic that is actually connected to the metal trunk. And so you have to drill a little hole for that to actually have the button put in for the trunk to come down. And so you're basically modding the car if you're doing that. So it's not stock anymore, which I wasn't super fond of, but it's something you have to do in order to have this product work. So that's, I think it's kind of a con, but you might not think so. And wiring, it's not really a con. It can be, but there's a lot of wiring for this thing. And so, it's a power trunk, so there's obviously going to be a lot of wiring, but it's just crazy how much wiring there is to this thing. So that might be a con for you if you're trying to do it like a DIY or something like that. But if you're not doing it, then I wouldn't even worry about it because the wiring's all going to be hidden away and you're not going to see any of it anyway. And that's really it for the cons. So let's get to the pros, and there's an absolute ton of them. So the first thing I'd like to mention is that in this version 3, on the actual screen now, there's actually an animation where you can see, if you hit that open button on the trunk, you can actually see an animation where the trunk is going up and down like this, so you'll know that the trunk is open. So that's a really cool thing that they added for this, for this version. So in addition to seeing it on your actual MCU screen in the car, you'll see the same thing on your app as well, where the trunk will have this animation where it opens and closes, which is really cool. I don't believe any of the other competitors right now have that. So this is a, specific thing for this Hansshow power trunk, which is really cool. The button still says open, but you can push it again and it'll close the trunk, and then that animation will stop, and then you'll know the trunk is closed. So they haven't quite worked out the kinks where the button actually says close, and same thing with the app as well. So basically if you're using the app and you want to close it, it'll still ask you, do you want to open it? And you click yes, and then it'll close the trunk. So they haven't quite perfected it yet where it actually can say closed. Not sure if they're ever going to be able to do that though, because I'm not sure how much that taps into Tesla's actual software. And I don't know if they can do that or not. But still, it's really cool that you can see the animation and you can actually use your app and the actual screen to open and close the trunk by itself. Another cool thing about this product is that because they have, however they did this, where you can actually use the screen, you don't have to actually drill another hole in your footwell area to have a button put in to close it. So I know some of the other competitors, you have to do that, where you actually have to drill another hole, which I'm not fond of. I don't like drilling holes because then it turns your car not OEM. So you actually have to drill a hole and then put a button in to close the trunk. So obviously with this Hansshow product, you don't have to do that. You can use your app, or you can use the actual screen in the car to push it and it'll automatically close the trunk for you. If you have a key fob, you can use that as well. I don't personally have one just because I always thought of a key fob as basically just having your keys from like your ICE car. So like, I don't like that. Obviously I like using my phone as the key. So, I don't have a fob, but you can use that as well if you want. And this product is the cheapest on the market. So if you look at the other competitors, they're actually more expensive than this product. And one of the reasoning behind that is because Hansshow actually makes the parts in their own factory. And from what I've been told, they actually sell the parts to the other competitors. So there's where it's going to be more expensive because they're buying the parts and then they're going to mark it up to sell it to you. So this product you want to buy straight from the source, and that's why you're getting the cheapest pricing possible. And on top of that, if you use my discount code that's in the description, you'll get another 10% off to buy the product. So there's no way the competitors are going to be able to beat this price because you're getting the cheapest on the market. Plus you can use my 10% discount code to get an even cheaper deal. So another cool thing about this product is that it's an actual true power trunk or power liftgate. So if you're looking on, YouTube maybe 6 months, a year ago, there are people putting in these mnemonic openers, especially with the Frunk, to just open it. But that's it. Then you have to still manually close it. So for me, that was kind of like, okay, whatever, because I have no problem opening the trunk by itself. It's not really an issue. It's always been closing the trunk or closing the Frunk. For me, I don't really like doing that. And especially with the trunk, it's kind of hard. Like, I don't really know where to put my hands. Do I grab the inside of the trunk with the handles, or do I grab the top of the trunk, or under the plate cover? So it's I don't want to damage things. So basically this was like the perfect solution, because then you just push a button or use the foot sensor and it just closes. So like what I would do before is I would grab the inside and try and swing it down with the right force to not slam the trunk super hard. But obviously that's like a feel type thing. So you're never going to get it right. And so it's like, ugh. So that was the way I did it, but it's not really the best solution. So having a power liftgate is awesome because you push a button and you're done. Just let it go, or you can kick it and let it do its thing. And as I just mentioned, it has a foot sensor as well. This is an extra $50, but it's totally worth it if you're always carrying things, like if you have groceries or, a ton of groceries, or maybe you're carrying a kid in some groceries or a kid in a stroller or something, and you can't actually get to the physical trunk to open it with your hand. Definitely you want to use the the foot sensor. And if you've seen a lot of the videos, usually people will sweep their foot under the trunk to get it to open. So you can do that to get it to work. But for me personally, I kind of had issues with that. It didn't work as well. So if you're having trouble with that too, where you slide your foot under in a circular motion and it doesn't actually open the trunk, what you can do is kind of like kick it. So like you're doing like a front kick and snap your foot under the bumper area. And I've had a lot better success opening the trunk that way instead. So it's a little trick that I'm giving you guys in case the original, this thing doesn't work for you. The foot sensor doesn't get triggered by things running under the car. So let's say you're on the freeway and there's like something on the road and you drive over it. The trunk isn't just going to automatically open by itself. It knows basically when you're in drive that it shouldn't open. So basically you could test it if you want. I've seen other videos where people have tested it and I know it doesn't open up. And so just know that it's not going to malfunction and be weird like that and open these random times when you don't want it to. And it won't just randomly open the car. You need to be around the car. So basically, with your phone key or your fob, if you have your phone key, it's going to use Bluetooth to communicate. And once it knows that your phone is there, then it'll activate. And then you can use your foot sense, your little foot trick, your foot, swipe or your foot kick to get it to open. And so, like I said, it's not going to just open randomly in some random place when you're in the store or something. It does need to communicate with Bluetooth. The trunk does have what's called anti-pinch. And so basically what that means is that it's not going to just slam with reckless abandonment. So let's say you're trying to get something out, or maybe your kid is hanging out in the trunk or something. Well, if it's coming down and it feels something, it'll stop immediately. And so you don't have to worry about it just, being a robot and just slamming with, anything. If anything is in the way, it will stop. It does have adjustable slam settings as well, which is really nice. So basically, if you feel like it's slamming too hard and you don't want to ruin your rubber seals or something like that, you can actually set it with the little computer box in there to, slam lighter. So it's a whole process you have to go through to adjust the slam settings, but it is there. Like I mentioned earlier, you do have to drill a small hole, and it goes into the plastic portion of the trunk lining, that's connected to the actual trunk. And so that's for the button that you have to put in there to close the trunk. So when it's open, if you want to open the trunk, so that's to close it, like I said, yeah. So if you want to open it, you can either use a kick sensor if you have one, or you can just use the regular button like you would if you had a manual trunk. So if you just push that, the trunk will open up automatically. Another great one is this kit shouldn't void warranty because it is 100% plug and play. So all the wiring and all that stuff plugs into this computer box, and that's basically it. So in theory, you could take this entire thing out and not have to worry about spliced wires or unsplicing wires or things like that. That was a huge issue for me. Like when I found out that they wanted to actually have me have this trunk installed, that was the first thing I asked. Do you have to splice wires? Because if they said yes, I'd be like, no, I don't want this. But because you don't have to splice wires and everything is plug and play, and I can basically turn the car totally to stock if I want to, that is a huge pro for me. And just know that that is there. And if you want to install it, you can take it totally out. I did talk to a Tesla rep as well, because I went down to the service center a couple of weeks ago and asked him if it voids warranty. And he said it does not void warranty as long as it doesn't mess with the electrical system. So as long as you don't damage anything, just putting up your little, I don't know what it's called, a little bolt thing. It's basically the power that you put to the 12-volt battery. As long as you don't damage something with the electrical system, which you shouldn't, because all you're doing is just sliding a clip under the bolt, and that's it. So as long as you don't damage any electrical components of the car, it shouldn't void warranty. But what I would do is ask your local service center, or I guess your local advisor, and see what they say. But they should be telling you the same thing, because it literally is a plug-and-play system that you can totally remove if you want. So that's all the pros and cons I came up with for this Hansshow Power Liftgate trunk. So would I recommend this product? I definitely would. I think it's the best product on the market right now. It's definitely the cheapest because they make their own parts. If you're looking for a referral code, like I said, you get 10% off. Go to the link in the description. You'll get 10% off if you use my referral code. If you need help installing it, Hansshow actually contracts that out. And so Larry is the guy who installed it for me. He's the Bay Area installer. So if you live in the Bay Area, definitely contact him. He was super fast and he's really good at these. His information is also in the description as well. So definitely contact him if you want to have somebody install it, because he's really good and really fast. If you don't live in the Bay Area, look at the cities in the description and contact Hansshow, and they can get you set up with whoever's the installer in your area if you want to have somebody professionally install it. So that's my review of the product. Hopefully you found it helpful. Hopefully you get one, because these things are awesome and I love it, and it's just awesome to have a powered trunk. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.